everyone, and thank you so much for watching another episode of The Early Edition, brought to you by Endless Living. Last week I mentioned in closing that there are 12 kingdoms presently in Europe. I didn't say the European Union, but Europe. 2 of these kingdoms are elective and 10 are hereditary. When I say elective, I mean those voted into monarchical office. These would be Vatican City, whose current ruler, of course, is Pope Francis, and then the country of Andorra, consisting of co-princes, one being the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, and the Bishop of Urgell. So why is this so important to prophecy? Because in Daniel chapter 2, King Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonian king, had an extraordinary dream of a gigantic statue, the most unique colossus you've ever seen. Definitely the kind you only see in a dream because of how strange it was. I mean, who builds on a foundation of feet mixed with iron and clay? They don't mix. It reminds me of what Thomas Cobb said in the movie Inception.
Our dreams, they feel real while we're in them, right? It's only when we wake up that we realize something was actually strange.
To make a long story short, this is where Daniel comes in. God reveals the dream to Daniel and the interpretation of it. First of all, he interprets the head of gold to be Babylon. And as it was around 597 BC that Daniel interpreted this, he could see the future kingdoms, yet did not know their names. But their descriptions parallel historic empires amazingly. Medo-Persia, the empire that conquered Babylon, for example, consisted of a dual empire, the Medes and the Persians. Hence the 2 arms of silver. If you Google Greek weapons or Greek armor, you'll see brass all over the page. And historically, Alexander the Great subdued the Persians. Then Rome was a dual empire consisting of Rome and Constantinople as its 2 capital cities before it fell in 476 AD, which explains the 2 legs of iron. Iron itself is stronger than brass. Then the bottom of the statue consists of clay mingled with iron. And Daniel concludes this with an emphasis on the toes. And how many toes are on a person's feet? 10. We have seen everything on this statue happen except these 10 toes. Interestingly enough, Daniel himself dreams of these future kingdoms as well, only in greater detail. In Daniel's dream, he sees 4 beasts, strange in form as only a dream can produce. The final beast has 10 horns. And in Daniel 7, these 10 horns are interpreted by one that stood by Daniel, presumably an angel. They are 10 kings. The fact that they arise from the beast that represents Rome means that they must come out of the territory of an empire that will eventually be revived. In 1911, H.A. Ironside wrote, "This brings us to the last form of the 4th kingdom, for the Roman Empire, though at present in abeyance, has not yet come to its end. The 10 toes on the feet of the image represent 10 kings who are to reign at one time, but who will form a confederacy on the ground of the ancient empire. This is something which the world has never yet seen." That was 1911. I need to remind you that the European Union was officially established in 1993 when the Maastricht Treaty came into force. Hey, do those seals in the book remind you of anything? The European Union's roots go back to the European Economic Community established respectively by the 1951 Treaty of Paris and, get this, the 1957 Treaty of Rome. Here is a map of the ancient Roman Empire. And here is the European Union territory today. I need to say that some of these countries have not yet joined, but are expected to this year in 2021. So I went ahead and added them in so you can see the incredible similarity in this vision of the beast. Daniel sees a little horn arise, which is a man who is known to the saints as Antichrist, but to the world he will be known as a great leader. He will arise out of these 10 horns and will bring the 10 kingdoms under his dominance. 3 of the 10 kings he will subdue by force. Those of you who have heard all of this before, let me remind you that the 10 kings must first exist before we see the little horn, the Antichrist, arise out of those kingdoms. In order for Antichrist to arise, the church, a body of believers in Jesus Christ, sealed with the Holy Spirit, must be taken out of the way. To make a clarification from last week, there are 12 kingdoms in Europe. However, Norway is not a part of the European Union, and it is currently estimated that 76% of Norwegians would vote no to join. The United Kingdom is not looking too good either, as it has just emerged from the Brexit controversy. There are a lot of hard feelings there. But within the borders of the European Union are 10 present kingdoms, varying in description, but nevertheless 10. Whatever the case may be, we are seeing a Confederate empire beginning to form, and within its borders are 10 rulers. Right before our eyes, we are seeing the events foreseen by Daniel 2,600 years ago unfolding. Next week, we will be covering the ever-increasing birth pangs prophesied by Jesus Christ in part 3 of Early Edition. Thanks for watching. See you next time.